The Story of Vàtamiga. The Buddha told this story at Jetavana, relating it to the matter of a young monk named Cullapindapatika Tissa. When the Buddha was residing at Bamboo Grove, Tissa was a young man, the only son of a wealthy family in the region. He had the opportunity to visit Bamboo Grove to listen to the Buddha's teachings. Inspired by the Buddha's profound teachings, Tissa developed a strong motivation to live as a monk. However, his parents refused to grant their permission. In an effort to convince them, Tissa went on a hunger strike for 7 days. Worried for his health and fearing he might be in danger, his parents had no choice but to allow him to leave the family and pursue a monastic life. He was then ordained by the Buddha, and with initial enthusiasm, he practiced diligently. One day his parents, still deeply attached to him, arranged for a young, charming, and beautiful girl in hopes of bringing him back home. To execute their plan, the young woman purchased a house located along the path where Tissa frequently went for alms. She regularly prepared delicious food to offer to Tissa, and each time, she dressed attractively, using special clothes and fragrances to enhance her appearance. Over time, she noticed that Tissa had become attached to both her food and her beauty. One day, she did not go out to offer him food, but instead remained in her bed, instructing a servant to invite Tissa inside, claiming that she was seriously ill. What followed was inevitable. Tissa, unable to control his desires, disrobed and returned to family life with the charming woman. The issue of Tissa's disrobing was widely discussed among the Sangha, and when the Buddha learned of it, he remarked that, in the past, Tissa had also failed to conquer his desires and had fallen into danger. The Buddha then proceeded to tell the story. A long time ago, when King Brahmadatta ruled Varanasi, there was a man named Sanjaya who worked as the garden caretaker of the king's palace. One day, a sika deer got lost and wandered into the palace garden. Sanjaya did not drive it away but allowed it to roam freely. Realizing there was no danger, the sika deer began returning to the palace garden regularly to look for food. One day the king ordered Sanjaya to catch the sika deer. Sanjaya spread honey on the grass in the area where the deer often came to graze. Over time, the deer developed a liking for the honey-coated grass, and began coming to the palace garden daily. Noticing the deer's attachment to the honey-covered grass, Sanjaya one day placed leaves mixed with honey from the garden near the palace entrance. The deer, enticed by the honey's sweetness, greedily ate the honey-coated leaves and eventually ventured into the palace itself. The king, observing from a high vantage point, watched the deer's movements from the garden to the moment it entered the palace. He then declared loudly, due to its greed for the food, the deer has put itself in danger. Indeed, desire is the most dangerous factor for us. After telling this story, the Buddha revealed that Sanjaya was the charming and beautiful girl, while the greedy deer represented Cullapindapatika. The Buddha identified himself as the Buddha in the story.